Hello and welcome to this Rolly Equator2 tutorial. In this video we're going to take a look at the Granular Oscillator Source. The Granular Source is one of 4 oscillator types that can be loaded into any of the 6 source slots in Equator2. Granular Synthesis works by taking a sample and cutting it into short grains. These grains can be taken from different positions in the sample, and the pitch, length, playback direction and trigger frequency of the grains can all be changed. To demonstrate this, I'm going to use a sample of my own voice. I've recorded this in a previous take of this video. By opening up the Granular Source's mini browser, I can drag and drop my sample to this Import Drag and Drop area. I'll leave the root note selector at C3. Once imported, my sample is added to the sample library so that I can use it again in the future. You can also use any of Equator2's sample library as Granular Source material too, but we'll come back to that shortly. So with the sample loaded, let's take a look at the various parameters that we can play with. You'll notice that I quickly set a few parameters there. That's so that we can clearly hear the sample and demonstrate some key features. If you want to follow along, I suggest setting the parameters to the same values that you can see on screen now. Here's what the sample sounds like with these settings. So we're going to try just putting my voice into the Granular Engine. The position control in the centre sets where in the sample playback of grains will begin. Putting my voice into the Granular Engine. Voice into the Granular Engine. Granular Engine. Scan rate sets how the position will move over time, with a value of 1 moving through the file at its natural speed. A value of 0 will not move the position at all. And a negative value will move the position in a reverse direction. When using low positive values, you can easily emulate time stretching. So we're going to try just putting my voice into the Granular Engine. And don't forget, the granular oscillator responds to keyboard pitch too.
So we're going to try just putting my voice into the Granular Engine.
Random position introduces randomization into the position of the grains. This often works well when combined with random pitch, which pitches each grain. At low values, this can be an excellent way to thicken up a sound. Rate sets how quickly the grains will be triggered, and size sets the grain size. These two controls are linked, with the size of a grain being a ratio of the trigger rate. If I slow the rate down, you'll be able to hear the individual grains. So we're going to try just putting my voice into the Granular Engine. The sync switch in the middle enables tempo synchronization of the rate control. Shape and tilt adjust the amplitude envelope of each grain. Results are highly dependent on your source material, so we're going to try just putting my voice into the Granular Engine. So we're going to try just putting my voice into the Granular Engine. But a good starting point is with tilt at 50%. This will give you the smoothest results when grain trigger rates are high. The direction control changes the probability of each grain playing either forwards or in reverse. In its current position, all grains will play forwards. So we're going to try just putting my voice into the Granular. Fully anti-clockwise, all grains will play in reverse. And at the midpoint, there will be a 50-50 chance of each grain playing either forwards or in reverse. So we're going to try putting my voice into the Granular. So by playing with all these, we have very fluid control over the audio. I'll see if I can make a quick vocal pad just using this sample. Voices into the As I mentioned earlier, Equator2 comes with a sizable library of sampled sounds, and it can all be used as content for the Granular Source. The Granular Engine can load both multi-samples and single samples. For example, you might want to use the grand piano samples as a granular layer in a bigger sound. There's also a dedicated granular category, which contains single samples which make excellent source material. By clicking on the small folder icon, you can see the individual samples within the multi-sample. For example, here I can select the Foley multi-sample and load in a single sample from within it. You can see that the Granular Source has switched to index mode. Index mode allows you to pick a single sample from a multi-sample set. And this can even be automated, opening up some very creative possibilities. If I want to use the entire sample key map, I would switch this to note mode. This is more likely to be useful when loading in chromatic multi-samples like the piano I mentioned earlier. So that's it for the Granular Source. I'll leave you with some granular grand piano.